At my age, you know I've been to a lot of doctors. Healthcare partners, they really care. They're concerned about your health. They're all the best. I am Roberta, and I am a healthcare partner. Visit hcpnv.com to hear my story.
News 46 is brought to you by Comfort Hospice Care, where we give our patients and their loved ones peace of mind, knowing we provide the highest quality of care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, call 751-0349. News is also brought to you by the St. Therese Mission, a future venue for cultural and environmental events near Pahrump. Get involved. Visit us at sttheresemission.com or call 702-507-4172.
Tonight on News 46, the power goes out on the south end of town after an accident.
A teenager is airlifted on his birthday to UMC Trauma Center.
And a 5-year-old saves his parents and the family home from fire. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Rhonda Van Winkle
The video's only 5 seconds long, so it's automatic.
and Jason Koblenz. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell. News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Fourth, 2013. I'm Rhonda Van Winkle.
And I'm Jason Koblenz for News 46.
Power to the south end of town was wiped out for several hours early Saturday morning due to a single vehicle accident on Mance Road. The driver, who was allegedly intoxicated, crashed his full-size pickup truck into a large power pole, severing it in half and causing another pole to break in two.
Manson Homestead, we were dispatched for a report of a motor vehicle accident with utility poles compromised. Arrived on location, the Sheriff's Department was there, and we did in fact find a vehicle that had taken out at least a couple of utility poles. They were sheared. There was a power outage that extended to most of the south part of the valley. Our closer inspection and investigation revealed that we had at least one person trapped in the vehicle. Engine 1 went into service. They extricated that individual. We transferred patient care to Mercy Air 21, who landed at the scene. And the remainder then was assisting with Valley Electric and resecuring the power and making sure we had a safe area established.
Only one occupant inside this vehicle, right?
Yes, that was my understanding that it was one person and that would occupy that vehicle.
And tell me what it's like to extricate a person when you have some live wires there. What kind of precautions does Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue take?
Fortunately for us, the area of the down power lines were not in the immediate area where the vehicle came to rest. So it wasn't as much of a safety issue on the wires. What we did have to be very cognizant of is that the compromised utility poles, one had sheared at the very top and was precariously hanging and suspended by the other lines. So we were very careful of that, but again, the vehicle was not immediately next to that area.
And then, of course, Mercy Air landing on scene in a situation where there's some down power lines too, and also no lighting.
Exactly. With no lighting in the area, we utilized apparatus lighting, we utilized our strobe lights to illuminate the LZ, and we positioned them further west so that they were out of the immediate area of the down power lines as well. We did not want a rotor wash to come in and cause a problem for those utility poles that were compromised.
Does it appear that the person inside the vehicle was wearing a seatbelt at the time of this accident?
I don't know. That's part of the investigation. It's on our way to the Sheriff's Office.
And transported via Mercy Air to UMC Trauma Center. As far as you know, just major injuries possibly.
Yes.
A 16-year-old boy crashed his quad runner into a ditch just off the beaten path, off Leslie Street and Highway 160. He was transported to UMC Trauma Center via Mercy Air on what is reportedly his birthday.
Tonight's accident report is brought to you by Stovall & Associates. Don't expect insurance companies to have your best interest in mind. Stovall & Associates cares. Let us help you if you have been involved in an accident.
Earlier this afternoon, right after the lunch hour, we received a report of a quad accident with injuries on the very north end of our valley in the desert area. The initial reports were that there was going to be a vehicle parked on the side of the roadway with their four-way flashers. activated and that they were going to take us into the scene. Upon arrival, we did in fact find that it was well off the roadway, and from the highway itself, you couldn't observe the accident scene at all. We made our way up, partially by vehicle and then on foot for the rest of the journey up into the desert area there. We found a quad that had nosedived into a culvert and ejected the passenger over the vehicle and onto the desert floor. It warranted a flight based on the quick assessment by our paramedics. Mercy Air 21 came in. Highway 160 was closed for a short period, utilizing it as an LZ for Air 21. Patient care was transferred after we walked the patient down most of the way from the desert floor, and then they went into UMC trauma.
Just one rider on this quad?
Yes, one occupant of that vehicle, and it's our understanding it may even have been his birthday today.
Oh, wow. And so teenager on that. We've had some quad accidents and some motorcycle accidents a lot recently, including youngsters, actually, riding these. Give some advice on what they should do.
You know, it's a really difficult thing, but if you're going to be out there and you have permission of your parents to ride and the equipment is safe, make sure you have your helmet, let everyone know where you were. I think one of the challenges today is that the family didn't know exactly where he was when he reported his accident, so they investigated that on their own before notifying authorities. And we'd like to try and at least be able to get activated as early as possible. Therefore, we start accumulating the resources and we can assist with the search. But in this case, it didn't take them too long, approximately 15-20 minutes before they located them, and then we moved in and took care of the scene from there.
A Cirque du Soleil acrobat has been injured in a fall during a performance in Las Vegas days after the Montreal-based company was fined in connection with the fatal accident in June. The unidentified male acrobat was performing in the Wheel of Death act during the show's Arcana when he slipped and fell off the wheel. The show was halted, and the performer was transported to UMC Medical Center, where he is in stable condition and is expected to be released from the hospital in the next few days. The show is being performed at the Aria Resort and Casino.
And we'll be right back after this. Keep it right there, folks.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Albertsons. You're in for something fresh.
Welcome back. They're called genetically modified organisms, some even called GMOs, frankenfoods, and the U.S. is the largest producer of them. You may think you can avoid them, but in reality, most of the foods on your supermarket shelves contain at least one GMO. Are they safe? Should you take genetically modified foods off your menu? As Marty Salt reports, when it comes to the GMO debate, things are moving too fast for people to digest.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
Thousands of foods, your favorite foods. 80% of all foods at your local grocery store contain GMOs. Your cereal, your snack food, your soda all have GMOs.
Banana, plum.
That fact scares Tara Cook-Littman. She works hard to keep her 3 kids away from GMOs.
I don't want my children to be guinea pigs.
Genetically modified means that the DNA of a crop has been scientifically altered to make it more resistant to insects, weather, and disease. Those are huge advantages that allow higher yields and lower prices at the store. The FDA claims they're safe. But environmental researcher Jesse Ausubel thinks there should be more studies done to determine long-term effects. Reports show that GMOs can alter the immune system, cause cancer, make people resistant to antibiotics, and contribute to obesity. The latest GMO wheat has a new protein that stimulates appetites, so we consume 440 more calories a day.
There's enough evidence to be concerned and to monitor carefully. I don't think there's enough evidence that people need to panic.
Researchers from the Food Policy Institute at Rutgers found that only 52% of Americans realized that genetically modified foods are sold in grocery stores, and only 26% believe they've ever eaten one.
I buy these things for my family. I have full faith and trust in the process.
Dietitian Nadine Pazder believes our food choices would be limited without them.
And what that allows us to do is to get different variations in fruit, like a pink grapefruit instead of just white grapefruit.
But holistic practitioner Dolores Conti has seen firsthand what happens when people eliminate GMOs from their diet.
People don't realize that because the watermelon looks good, that tomato is beautiful and red, what it does in your body, that's what you have to worry about.
It may really be that one has to wait 30 or 40 years to know whether there are consequences.
The GMO debate has clearly divided experts and led to confusion for consumers.
GMOs are toxic. GMOs cause chronic illnesses.
I don't think we need to be afraid of GE foods.
The U.S. government, the American Medical Association, the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, and the British Royal Society all stress that GMO-based crops pose no greater risk than naturally grown crops. But at the end of the day, it may be the mothers of the world who determine the answer for all of us.
I think everyone should be able to know what's in their food.
It's a lot of food for thought before your next trip to the grocery store. I'm Marty Salt reporting.
Since the mid-90s, several countries in the European Union have required all foods containing GMOs to be clearly labeled. In the U.S., 30 states are considering labeling laws. Connecticut is the first one to pass legislation requiring special labels for genetically modified food.
A 33-year-old female allegedly jumped from the second floor of the Nye County Detention Center this afternoon. The female was transported to the Desert View Hospital via ambulance. She is said to have suffered a head injury as a result. No further information has been provided. Nye County Sheriff's Office is investigating.
Fire Chief Scott Lewis attributes a fire safety class and a brave 5-year-old boy to saving his parents at his home Saturday morning on Fairbanks Street.
Dispatched for a report of a kitchen fire. Upon arrival, we in fact found an extinguished kitchen fire, but it had extended to like a kitchen nook. Heavy smoke and heat throughout the structure. 3 people occupied the structure at the time of the fire. All were removed safely from the residence. I will tell you, in that particular case, one of the success stories of this particular fire is our recent fire prevention activities. Our firefighter Rod Fernandez had completed an educational class up at Mance Elementary, as one of the students was actually a 5-year-old that occupied this particular structure. He awoke to the smoke condition, summoned out the call to the other occupants, alerting them that there was a fire, and they all safely egressed as a result of his actions, and Robbie did an excellent job.
And this is what you guys were all talking about for October, was Fire Prevention Month, that you guys were going to be going to all the schools and talking to the kids. So this actually was something that was used right in the field right there.
It was. He exercised what he had learned through that class with Firefighter Fernandez, and I believe it was Ryan D'Ambrosio from our fire department as well. And what was very interesting about this particular call is that Rod Fernandez was the firefighter who was on this particular scene today as well. So they recognized each other, they had an exchange, and the little guy went to the hospital for smoke inhalation, and he seems to be doing well.
And then the rest of the family doing well. Do you know what started the fire?
It appears to be accidental in nature. We're continuing our investigation, but it appears to be accidental.
Is the structure still livable at this point?
It's actually a rental property, so I believe that the owner is going to deem it untenable until they effect the repairs.
All right, and what advice can you give to people out there who might be in a similar situation?
Early indicators for the accidental fire is make sure all of our candles are extinguished before we retire for the evening. Make sure we don't leave any of the incense burning, things along those lines.
And then if you do have a structure fire or something on fire, what should you do?
Absolutely, make sure everybody's out of the house. And I think one of the important lessons here is to make sure that all your smoke detectors are in operating order, and to ensure that, again, everyone has a safety plan to safely egress out of the structure in the event of a fire.
And especially right now with returning back to standard time, twice a year, check those smoke detectors.
Those batteries, replace them, and make sure everybody's safe in the house.
Well, after a weekend of intense investigation, authorities are piecing together more details about Friday's fatal shooting at Los Angeles International Airport, including the suspect